Hey everybody, JamieStarr here for the New World News Network. Tonight, I'm not going to talk about news necessarily, but I'm going to talk about movies, and specifically the Oscar-nominated movies this year, Lady Bird in particular, but let me just first talk about the other movies. So, the person I'm dating wanted to watch all the Oscar-nominated movies, so the screeners generally come out, so, the judges and everyone can watch them beforehand, so I downloaded them. And I started noticing this sort of thread of social justice as we were going through all of these. You have the Underneath the Water, something whatever, Shape of Water movie. You have a mute woman who falls in love with a sea creature, and it's all sorts of social justice undertones. Evil Americana is present. You have two Nazi movies, because of course, with Trump, there's the rise of Nazism, so there's all sorts of Nazi propaganda nonsense. I haven't watched Dunkirk yet, but that's the one I do have high expectations for. And Darkest Hour wasn't that bad, but it still fits with the social justice theme. And then you have Three Billboards Outside of Aberdeen, Mississippi, or whatever. That's a fuck the police movie, strong woman, whatever. There were those ones. There's Call Me By Your Name. Fucking weird ass movie. Kind of a pedophilia vibe. The dad kind of comes out at the end of it. Like, all sorts of weirdness going on there. Let's see, there was those two. I feel like there's one I'm forgetting. Get Out. That of course has all the racial undertones and everything like that. And then there was Lady Bird, and I feel like there's another one I still haven't watched, the one about the Post, so this is just what I'm speaking of the ones I've seen thus far, but Lady Bird kind of struck me as a sort of home run for conservatism, because, first off, the movie is trying so bad to be this decade's Juno that it's just... it even takes place during the Bush administration. You have them say these lines like, don't be a Republican. And you have this girl who goes to a Catholic school. So there's at first all sorts of, kind of anti-God stuff. Them casually eating the communion and being like, oh, well, it's not wrong to eat it. It hasn't been blessed yet. And her family, struggling... middle lower class, she's ashamed of it. She tells this girl when she becomes friends with one of the more popular, more privileged, affluent girls, tries telling them that she lives in a different house because she's ashamed of the house she actually lives in. And she's also trying to get into all these liberal arts colleges in New York, and the mom is, of course, the whole time saying, well, how can we afford this? We can't afford this. And she's like, well, I'll just get grants and I'll just do this and everything. And it really ends up being a movie about how the liberal mindset is one of self-destruction and sabotage. Because you have these situations that go on. Like, first, the liberalist or liberal materialist obsession where, while the family is struggling to make ends meet, she's very much ashamed of it, trying to say she lives in nicer houses. There's the sort of jealousy and envy of what other people have. There's the sort of fuck religion attitude in the beginning of it. And then as the movie progresses, you have these instances happen where she ends up sleeping with some random guy, thinks that it's going to be something magical, presumes that the guy is a virgin. Then she finds out he's not, and it's just hookup sex to him, and she is devastated. Then you have it where she goes off to college. She continues to pursue this, well, I'm just going to get drunk. I'm just going to get wasted. Now, this is towards the end of the movie. She just sort of gets drunk and wasted, ends up in a hospital, leaves the hospital, and then goes from there to church. So, and you can kind of see where it's sort of like bringing her, by the end of the movie, basically, you have her who's adversarial towards her parents, kind of has a fuck religion attitude, going with this sort of whole liberal arts, college nonsense. And then after these multiple instances of, disappointing hookup sex and, being embarrassed because she lied about, being poorer than she is, and all this stuff to present, this liberal elitist mindset and attitude, it eventually comes full circle with her being at church, her trying to make amends with her mother, and all of this stuff. And I was very taken back, because I was like, wow, with all these movies having this sort of social justice undercurrent, this movie, whether it meant to be or not, ends up being a advertisement for conservatism, because adopting conservative principles, a conservative lifestyle, politics or not, but lifestyle choices that fall under the conservatism umbrella, would have prevented all of the, not negligent, but malice and just the disappointments that she had, where she would just continually kind of fuck herself up, and then because of things that fall under the, sex is just sex, hookup culture, get drunk, party, get wasted, live in the moment, this and that. And it's, I'm telling you, with the themes presented in the other movies, I was very taken back at how this one, by the end of it, becomes a anti-liberal arts, just sort of shows how if you follow this trend of don't be a Republican, you're just going to end up sabotaging yourself and in a world of disappointment. So, I wanted to just mention this video, make everyone aware of it, check it out. If you think I'm wrong, if you think maybe I've taken the wrong message from the movie, feel free to let me know. Another movie, actually, now let me bring this one up real quick. The Phantom Thread. This was the most recent of the ones I had watched. Very funny how there were these articles going on about how, Phantom Thread is a movie about misogyny, and, how the main character, the dressmaker, is just sort of a control freak, and he's sort of a dick to everyone and everything like that. And of course now it's not just this guy's a dick and he's being a dick to everyone. It's, well, they're women, so, he's a sexist and he's a misogynist, and, and that's the time period, I could see why there might be some undercurrents of that, but I think it's more of a revisionist history, I don't think women were as oppressed as we're told they were. We're talking the day and age of women and children get rescued first. So you had that take of the movie. And then you had the actress who is in the movie come out and say, well, I think the main character, the female lead, is a feminist. She's a shining example of what feminism is, because she loves him in her own way. And, she does things her way, and this, and that. And when I was reading these articles, I was like, okay, cool, this woman understands what feminism is actually about. It's about strong women making their own choices and doing their own thing. Little did I know, one of the choices this woman makes is to continually poison her husband. And he basically continually goes to these points where he's like, I don't know why she's around, she's just a burden, she's just in my way. She poisons him, then makes him completely dependent upon her, nurses him back to health and everything like that. Then everything starts to fall to shit again. Then by the end of it, and spoiler alert, by the end of it, you have her, it looks like she's making him an omelet with, instead of ground up little bits of poisonous mushrooms, just the whole fucking things are in there. And she looks him dead in his face and is like, I want you helpless, flat on your back, thinking you're going to die, but you're not, and I'm going to be there, and I will be the only one there for you, and I will, nurse you back to health, and this, and that. And so she basically reveals these weird illnesses you've been coming down with. I've been poisoning you to make you dependent on me. And his response by the end of it is, I can't fucking wait, baby. Let's do this. So that's feminism nowadays. I mean, nothing. It's the lead actress is kind of right when she says that, where that's a very good analogy for what third wave feminism is, with the whole ideas of mansplaining. If you let boys grow up and be boys, they're going to, what was that New York Times headline, rape their moms and kill their fathers or whatever. Like, it's this mentality of, we're going to sabotage the boys and we're going to fuck shit up, and we're going to take the lead because whammon. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing as Star Wars. You had people talking about how it's such a feminist movie, and yet the women were making shit decisions the whole movie through, kept getting them in worse and worse situations. They're running and ducking for cover, and then by the end of it, they're calling in Luke Skywalker to save the fucking day. It's these things that, people are claiming to be feminists. I don't know if they are seeing what they want to see, but sometimes it reveals their true colors if you actually look what's going on in it, and you're like, oh yeah, well, this is kind of feminist, but it's not a positive takeaway. It's actually a revelation of how you don't give a shit, and you're just trying to fuck shit up for the sake of having power. So, anyway, Lady Bird, conservative masterpiece, inadvertently maybe, but everyone, I recommend you check it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the other Oscar nominees and everything. As far as award shows go, I was trying to look for this article. I'll mention too the Grammys while I'm at it. I kept seeing all these articles after the Grammys about how women got snubbed and this and that. And let me just say, in music, you have artists like Rihanna, Kesha, Britney Spears, these sort of female faces, where 80% of their product is made by men. Male writers, male producers. Rihanna gets songs made by Stargate and Neo, and she essentially karaoke's over it. She is the most minor aspect of the creative process possible, but yet, to these journalists, if she got the award, it would be score one women. It really shows you their divisiveness is based on just pure sexism and hatred, complete ignorance of what they're talking about and what they're judging, and it's ridiculous. But the overtone of a lot of these articles were women should win because they're women. Projects and everything should win because of the messaging. Like, Kesha had a Me Too moment, so how dare she not get a Grammy? Maybe because her album sales didn't do great, like compared to her first album, it didn't do shit. It's all these award shows are just turning into social justice nonsense, patting themselves on the back for creating social justice nonsense. They're creating it for each other, not the markets, because the markets continually reject it, and they just keep doubling down on it. And that's because they all sit around and circle jerk each other and give each other gold statues for putting out complete crap. But Lady Bird, a movie I thought was going to be complete crap, just ends up illustrating how everything the mainstream media preaches and everything that they try to sell everyone as, oh, this is the cool thing to do, is just going to leave you disappointed and broken. So, that's my bit on the Oscars. Hope everyone enjoyed. Make sure you follow the channel, support on Patreon, and follow me on Twitter. Have a good one, everyone. Take care.